So now we're going to go into how to wow, which I love. How do you be successful in these types of recruitment settings? So Flavio, you're going to take us away with these first three, and then I'll give us some insight into these three down here.
Definitely. So, like Annie mentioned at the tabling that she saw this morning, you are more than welcome to bring a resume or any form of contact to leave with the recruiter. You can obviously print it out, or you can even upload it to your Handshake profile, or you can even upload it to your LinkedIn as well, and even leave them with your LinkedIn and connect with your information to connect later on. It's a great way to end a conversation when you're talking to the recruiters as well. And oftentimes the recruiters will have some sort of sign up sheet or QR code like Annie was talking about. Essentially, this is a way for them to just forward more information to you about, future positions, future internship programs. So that's also another way to connect with them if you don't feel like bringing the printed out resume with you. With that in mind, if you do choose to bring a printed copy of a resume, you want to be intentional with who you decide to hand that out to. So I always recommend that before you go to any event, especially a career fair like the one that we're having soon, always take some time and take a look at who is going to be there. What are the employers that are going to be there? And do some research on those employers. That way you kind of have a better idea of the people that you want to go talk to and the people who you want to leave with a good lasting impression. Rather than just kind of hopping around and meeting other people. Obviously, that's a great way to get familiarized, but it tends to be more effective when you kind of go in there with a more targeted approach. Um, in that case, when you have a more, specific list of employers who you want to contact, you can also come up with questions that you can ask them to get more information about, the overall organization, the company culture. Some examples of questions could be like, how can I be successful within this organization? Or you can even ask things about their mission and how it aligns with your values. So I always like to ask about, their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, right? That's something that's very important for me when I consider employers. With that in mind, you also want to go in there feeling prepared, right? So it's all about being prepared, knowing what questions to ask, and knowing how to present yourself as well. So a great way to do that is by drafting your elevator pitch, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's something that, is often talked about in class. But essentially, it's a short spoken description of who you are, right? The elevator pitch name comes from the fact that you're able to recite this within the time of, being in an elevator. If you're stuck in an elevator with someone, you want to tell them who you are, what do you offer? So what are those top skills that are relevant to that job that you're interested in? And what are you looking for, right? So is it an internship opportunity? Is it an opportunity to connect for future reference? Or maybe it might just be you're looking to get some more information, right? So it's always good to go in there with that in mind as well. And there are some great resources on the career library, which I will drop in the chat, which you can utilize to draft up your own elevator pitch as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Flavio and I were talking a little bit about this as we were preparing for this event, both on campus together, but also across distance. It's a good reminder to be mindful of your virtual visuals, as we're calling them. So it's important to prioritize quality dress, background, and audio when participating in virtual recruitment. Something that we even planned when facilitating or planning to facilitate this event was, how are we going to ensure that we have a quiet space where we're able to focus without distractions? We're going to test our audios, visuals before we hop on for online recruitment, even if we're just talking about recruitment to you all. And then, of course, on-site social cues are important as well. So it's important to be mindful of body language, pay attention to social cues. So for instance, does this conversation feel like it's at an ending point? And Flavio mentioned that even scanning that QR code or handing that resume off and thanking someone for their time is a nice common way to close out a conversation. And then, of course, it's important to be courteous in all conversations. So even if you discuss an opportunity with an employer and decide it's not the right fit for you, it's still great to thank them for their time and be very gracious in your interactions. And then, of course, you want to dress for success, like we mentioned, both virtually and on campus for recruitment, and especially if you're going on site to an organization. We want you to dress in a way where you feel comfortable, confident, you feel that you're celebrating your full self, but that also fits the tone of the event. So, for example, if you feel that color really represents your personality, there's certainly an appropriate way to wear your favorite color. If that's, hot pink, maybe it's not head to toe, maybe it's a blouse that provides a pop of color, for instance. So we want you to feel like your full self and that your personality is represented. We also want to highlight that the Career Center has a career closet on both the Loop campus and Lincoln Park campus, where you can shop the closet for clothing that's going to fit the bill for either a virtual interview or engagement or on-campus engagement. So for instance, if you feel that you need a blazer or some shoes to wear to an event, but you don't necessarily have the ability to go shopping or whatever it is, even if you're in search of hygiene items before jumping downstairs to the atrium in the Loop campus for a career fair, we're able to offer that at the career closet. So please come visit us on our Loop and Lincoln Park campuses if you haven't already. And if you'd like to be introduced to the career closet, we can also show you that, because we want you to feel like you're dressed for success in any setting, like we said, whether you're on the computer or shaking hands in person.